It's just a stats. Reggie Johnson, Eugene Morgan coming to you from lovely city of Atlanta, Georgia. Eugene, we got basketball here in the summer. Not only do we have just kind of summer leagues, you always got summer league basketball, but you actually have competitive NBA players playing in the summer due to the Olympics. Now, one thing that's interesting about the Olympics now versus back then, remember back in the day when you watch Olympics and all of the 10 to 12, maybe you have 16 NBA players total out there, and that's
Right.
counting like the 10 or 12 on the US team.
The USA team.
You got like four other
Lottie
guys
Divac.
randomly on
Look at
squads
Lottie. He's out there.
representing, and you get excited about that, right? You
Right.
see, hey, whoa, there's Lottie right there, man. They got a guy. They got a guy, you know? So it's interesting now because you're going into it, and it seems like an extension of the NBA season to a certain degree, only because of the nature of the players. A lot of these players are playing in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And here they are now playing in Paris for the Olympic team. We'll talk about a few subjects here. What do you think about the team overall, first of all, before we kind of dig into kind of some of the games played, competition, stuff like that? You like the roster, anything you would change?
I love it. I mean, I kind of love where like LeBron has been like taking that point forward. So it's he's been kind of like taking that Draymond spot. That's the little piece. Yeah. So it's been like really interesting because I mean we all love Draymond, great defense player, but yeah, we know this shot select or this shot just whatever making is limited. So it's like oh, so it's kind of it's just always fun to like see like all these guys get together and just like how's it gonna mesh and obviously the first exhibition games like they're always gonna be some just trial and errors, but you can just like it's just exciting to see like oh this could happen. Oh you start like projecting your mind. Oh wow, this could literally look really awesome. So it's kind of nice to you get those those exhibition games out of the way and just kind of like oh this is gonna be exciting to watch.
Any snubs? You like the roster? Anybody you feel like you would have been on the roster? You know, Kawhi was on it. And the only thing that I think that was kind of controversial was Derek White getting replaced.
Yeah,
or replacing Kawhi versus Jaylen Brown, the Finals MVP, replacing Kawhi, which would have made a lot of sense, but I don't know what really. Why? I think Grant Hill says he owns that. Or one of the reasons. I'm not sure if he made the total decision, but I know I saw Grant Hill coming out and kind of explaining the decision. So it made me think that there's some culpability there. Or why would he be out here? That's the only thing that I've seen. The team looks pretty good. A little bit of an older team here, with the exception of Ant out there, who I want to say was out there for the FIBA team or something. Like he's been on Team USA. He was Team USA before. I have to go back there and see if he played. Did he play what's the 2020? I gotta go look and see. I know this is. I don't think this is Anthony Edwards' first Olympics.
No, I think it's fine. Maybe they're going more like defense. Like I mean, I'm not saying like Jaylen is like a defensive like liability, but just with Derek White, he just has like sneaky defense and and kind of just need that during those weird, just those international games. I mean, that's where they were going with it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to answer it. I don't think you lose either way. You've got such a talented roster. And so maybe they're just kind of more thinking like we've got so much scoring and so much of this side of it. Maybe they're just kind of more thinking on the defensive side of it. That's the only reason I could think of it. But that's why they went that way.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that? I mean, cause I'm thinking Jaylen Brown. From what I remember, I know Derek White is definitely the second team all defensive player and the better defensive player.
Right.
Second team, right? I think it was second team all defensive.
Second team all defensive.
But at the end of the day, I also feel like Jaylen Brown is a better all around player. He's a better player.
I mean, I can't argue with that.
I get so much, Eugene, that it offsets the rest of the greatness. I don't know if it is, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if the Celtics would make that decision. If the team that has both of them together wouldn't make that decision.
No,
it does seem strange that the decision was made.
It was strange, and I mean, I don't. So that's the only reason I can think is White's on-ball defense. Just what's his what he averaged like a block game, which is just insane for you. If you look at Derek White, you not look at that guy and going, oh yeah, this guy's going to average like a block per game. So just as guard and just I don't know. Just maybe they look at it and go, "Hey, look, we have all these things, and maybe we just need to add that one extra piece." And let's face it, he played so great with their backcourts. I again, I see what you're saying, but I have no really good answer. I mean, you couldn't go wrong if you put Jalen on this team.
right.
I mean, you couldn't
Given
go
what
wrong.
you just said too, where if you feel like they're going to win anyway, which was one of the big things they were talking about with the Caitlin Clark and the women's team. With the women's team, they were like, "Hey, you're going to win anyway. You might as well just throw some entertainment
Throw her
out there."
on.
I don't know. Maybe from a cohesive standpoint, this is what they thought, but I definitely don't think that. Shout out to Derek White. I think also got paid too. He's a great player, but I don't know, man. I think Jaylen Brown would have been better on this team too. And shout out to Boston. They have their squad on this team. If Jaylen Brown was on this team, because they already got Drew Holiday there, right? So you got Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, and instead of going Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Derek White. Okay. I mean, things could be worse. Now, given the state of things, the teams where they are now, we have Hall of Famers. The majority of this team, I can go look, maybe every single player with the exception of one or two are going to be Hall of Famers on this team, right?
Yeah. I mean, all of them are legit Hall of Famers. I mean, you can even Derek White at some point or Drew Holiday. They're both
Derek White. Drew Holiday, I definitely got him on the cusp because he's 2 championship Drew, and he's competitive. He's not competitive, but he's a contributor. He's not just a guy. Right. He's not just along for the ride. He's pivotal in both of those championship runs. So Drew could definitely be headed there. We'll see. Derek White's got a long time to go. Do you think then, even though we'll talk about this with more NBA players being in the Olympics in general now, even with all that being said, is it still gold or bust for USA men's basketball?
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I look.
No matter what, no matter how many NBA players out there.
No, basically. I'm sorry. They're what minus. I think the last odds I saw was minus 650 for them to.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they're just. If you look at this roster, I'm sorry. You look at this. I mean, yes, you're right. There are more competitive players from like when you and I were watching the 92 Dream Team, right? To
it's them and a bunch of dudes, man. Them versus a bunch of guys. They were beating people down.
I get it, and I saw a statistic where I think there was like 9 NBA players when they played versus I think like 61. Now again, that 61 we could be stretching, right? That could be the guy in the 12th, on the bench so we could be stretching that number a little bit, but I'm sorry. This is a sport we should always be winning,
Really? Nobody. Hey, the FIBA doesn't. Didn't we get bronze not too long ago in the FIBA? Right? It wasn't too long ago. I want to say we came home with that bronze.
We did. You're right. And and we should be in the and that should make us mad. That should disappoint us. Wake up call, right?
Redeem team, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I mean, there's like in swimming, yes, it does kind of has ebb and flows between us and Australia. With track and field, it kind of has ebb and flows between us and Jamaica. But right, but this, I'm sorry. Until yes, we do. I know international players dominate our league, but when it comes to that cohesiveness, like we should be winning. I'm sorry, this should be us. And if we don't win a goal, then those guys should be disappointed.
Yeah, I agree. It's not just that American, just a pride. It's more so of we from top to bottom should have a better team than you. And if you guys play up to your ability, we should be winning these games.
Yes.
We should be winning these games. Got several MVPs on this team. You know what I mean? Like, not just Hall of Famers, league MVPs, greatest of all time. That's all we have on this team.
NBA champions. I mean, let's not forget that. I mean, it's
right. Recent champions. Old champions.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah. I just, and they got one of the best coaches to do it. They've got best bench coaches to do. I mean, they've got the best bench. I mean, bench coaches as well. It's like this. I'm sorry, you just can't. I just look at their roster. It's like there's no way gold should just like if it's gold, then you're right. It should be. It's disappointing. And that's how they should be approaching it. If we don't win gold with this roster, I love Kawhi, but I mean, even with putting Derek White here, they're still good. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Right?
You could have put anyone in that roster spot. You should still be minus 650 to win the gold. Shouldn't change.
Well, let's look at a stat here. The United States has been a powerhouse in Olympic basketball since the sport was officially added in 1936. The U.S. men's basketball team has bagged 16 out of 20. That is an 80%. If I do my math real fast there, that's 80%. Winning gold, including the last 4, and has medaled in every Olympics except for 1980, which they boycotted. This record brings their medal count to 19, the highest in Olympic history. So we are, I mean, it is a situation where they should be killing everybody, right? Yes. Now, we should be killing everybody until we get to this team, South Sudan, right? This is the powerhouse. Until we ran into the powerhouse, that is South Sudan. Forget all those records I just told you. They're out of here, Eugene. We got in there in South Sudan, and we needed a miracle. We needed a prayer to win that game. We needed a miracle or a last minute layup from LeBron.
Yes.
Closing minutes in the closing seconds to pull away from a South Sudan team that has, if I'm not mistaken, no Hall of Famers on it. No NBA champions on it. No NBA MVPs, I don't think, are on that team. Shout out to Luol Deng, by the way. Luol Deng has built this South Sudan program. And now here they are. Even though it is an expedition game, this is kind of stuff that you could take home to bragging rights to your country or wherever you're from. I was on a sports show yesterday, and a guy told me, or a guy was talking to the show, and he said, one of the things when we were talking about this subject, one of the things he said was, I'm not mistaken, but I don't even know how many indoor basketball courts they have in South Sudan. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Could you imagine? Eugene losing this game? Now, we went into this game about 43.5 point favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if anything makes you sit back, it'll be 43.5 point favorite. Like, if anything makes you kick your feet up, is this something to worry about? Because I told them yesterday when I was doing this show, I said, hey guys, you best believe when we play them again, it won't be a 1-point game. Like, we're going to go out there and really handle business this next game. I thought there's going to be so much embarrassment from even almost losing this game that they're going to go out there and handle business. And you want it to happen in the expedition or in the exhibition kind of phase, right? You don't want these losses to be, or these close calls to be happening in the actual Olympic Games. Do you think this is something to worry about, or kind of like just something that we took the foot off our gas, we weren't really taking them seriously, and nothing to worry about?
Nothing to worry about. I mean, I think it's one of those games where you're still trying to figure out your rotations, and this is a game to do it, right? You're like, this is a game you want to experiment with. And that's what they were doing. They were experimenting with different lineups, different looks. And I think that's what you look at this game with. And again, if you lost, yes, it's a laughable game, and you kind of get roasted on social media. But if you watch the game, they were experimenting, and you're right, and maybe they weren't taking it serious, but push comes to shove with this team. I think you're right. It's going to be coming around. If they come around again, it's going to be. It needs
to be domination, right, or else, man.
Right.
Like that's what we expect. We expect when a team has no. I think I'm not gonna say they don't have any NBA players, because I think when we look at some of the players that are in the league, they'll count you being an NBA player even if you never see the court. If you're just on an NBA team, you're technically listed as an NBA player on a roster, correct? You're listed as an NBA player, but you never see NBA playing time. So it's very different than the guys that we have on our squads who are leading teams, best player on teams, best players of all time, stuff like that are being talked about. And then we are having these type of situations. What do you think it says, though, for when we play better teams? We'll kind of talk about those a little bit. Does it worry you about the better teams that we may play when you see the kind of play that we had against a team with not the same caliber of competition as Canada and French teams and stuff like that?
No, I mean, like I said, the roster they built, I love it. I mean, just you could just see them just gelling. I mean, I know we're just watching practice clips, but I mean, just seeing them just like it's becoming more crisp. Like you can see them run the set plays. I see them just run different set plays and just on Twitter and just different social media spots. But you could see where that cohesiveness is coming, And like I said, I just think they were just testing different things. I don't get worried about exhibition games. Now, if it's if it's round one or the group play, and it's like this, then I get worried. But if it's just like expedition, all these guys haven't played together. And again, we all know they're professionals, but I mean, they all come from different offense styles, all different plays, just different offensive different schemes. So it comes, you kind of have that minute. And I think this was a perfect game. Let's just practice different things and see what happens. I think that's exactly what this was. And again, like I said, if they lost, they get roasted, but they won with that, LeBron layup. And again, we all, you forget about the next day.
Well, let's just talk about these other teams that are a little bit more competitive. Let's talk about Canada here. Let's pull them up here. So which roster? We'll look at Canada. We'll look at Canada, and we're going to look at France. Which squad is giving us the most worry here? We have Shai Gilgeous up there, Jamal Murray, Wiggins, RJ Barrett, Dylan Brooks. We got a pretty good team.
Mm-hmm.
We got a pretty good team. What are your thoughts here?
Well, is Wiggins actually going to show up? I mean, do we know is he actually going to be there to play? So
has he been? Is he in Paris? Is he there so far? Like, because
he is.
They need to be, okay. That's to say.
I was just joking. It's a bad joke. Yeah, just because his no show of the last couple of seasons. So, I mean, and any team with SGA is just going to be. Let's just face it. But, and with Jamal, so I mean, I don't know. Something with Wemby on a team still kind of scares me. I know we're gonna get to that.
Let's look at them real quick.
I mean, I'm not gonna say Canada doesn't scare me, but
I feel like they are. So when you look at this team, Wemby and Gobert, okay, Fournier and Batum, not as much. They don't scare me, but they are capable. Batum get out there, and he's been a France player for a while, man. He'll get out there and he'll do it to you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not poo-pooing the fact that the France team is not formidable, because they have been on the world stage the last few years. I just look at how deep these teams go. Canada just seems like such a deep team in comparison.
They are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's my great fear. Good point. It's like Canada can make us push us to the fourth quarters, and the French team is going to be like, if they hit us they're going to hit us right away, and how do we recover? That's your two differences right there.
So which team did you say you like better? Do you like the France team, or do you like the Canada team? And do you like you like USA overall, first and foremost, right? We're still kind of sticking to that, right? The expectation is still gold, even with these teams looking the way that they do, right?
But Canada scares me because you have that depth, that's that they can kind of hang in the games. France is gonna might just punch us in the mouth like that first quarter, and we just kind of those first couple of quarters, maybe we just got to hang around. But Canada with that depth, they can. You have those extra bodies you can throw out there, on our team. But again, we still run 1 through 12. We still have all-stars through the whole roster. So it's as long as USA just plays their game and just executes, which they have been. They should win the gold.
Well, let's talk about something else here as we kind of transition out of that. Let's talk a little bit about the team, because we like to do comparisons here.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about this team. We're going to do the comparison between this team, the team in 2012, 2008, and the 1992 team. Mm-hmm. We'll have an article we'll kind of go over at the end here. Does a little pretty in-depth comparison, and it chose these teams specifically. I'm not sure why it left out the 2016 team. I don't know. It seems to have skipped them all together, man.
Blink their eyes like they're not just we don't recognize that team.
So they're not even listed in this article. So we'll go with the teams that they do have listed here. Of course, we have our team, the 2024 team, which is kind of hard to judge because the 2024 team we don't know, right? They haven't actually. There's an expectation on paper. As I look at the team on paper, this is a good looking team, right? As I look at the team on paper, I'm like, this is a team that we should definitely be winning with, as competitive as any other team that we had in the past. one of the things that the article mentioned that I will kind of mention ahead of time is the different styles of play when you're comparing teams from across 30 years, 20, 30 years, right? Because when you look at the 3-point line was nowhere near what it is in the 90s as it is now, as far as the amount of shots in the stretch 4 and 5s. They're big guys that can get back there and actually hit that shot. It wasn't a ton of guys that could do that. I don't know who could do it back in the 90s. I think that's just because a lot of guys, you take that shot back in the 90s, it's gonna get you benched.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't take the shot, you're not even getting drafted. You won't even get drafted if you can't take at least have a respectable 3-point shot as a sitter. You better be dominant in every other area of your game, or you're looking coming up a little short on draft day. So let's look at these teams. So let's go back. Let's go here and let's go to this. So we are. All right, roster and identity of the 2024 Paris team. This is on SB Nation, by the way, if anybody wants to check it out. So starting 5, Steph Curry, Jrue Holiday, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid. If you had to go, let's just give that a grade on just paper. Forget the results. A+. I mean, they're all going to be probably, we understand that in theory, if you're comparing these to like other basketball teams, they'd all be A+. But in this context, when you're comparing them to each other, what do you give this grade?
I mean, I'll give it would you give it a B+? I mean, just if we're comparing other teams, just because, I mean, again,
I think it's hard for me not to give it an A, man. It's hard.
I mean, I'm just trying to describe, just because, I mean, I'm not knocking Jrue Holiday, but, you know, just looking at their teams and Joel Embiid, you know, just, I love those guys, but if we're going to start comparing the other teams, you know, we might, it's going to be hard. Again, it's going to be like a B+, A-. But again, it's so hard to judge these teams.
Just look at the guys you got coming off the bench. Yeah. You know what I mean? Let's go after that starting 5. If we go to the starting 5, and starting 5 is Steph Curry, Jrue Holiday, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid.
Right.
That would mean you have Devin Booker coming off the bench. Anthony Edwards not even listed here, which he should be. You know, I don't know why Anthony Edwards is not starting. And I don't know if that's going to continue. I think Anthony Edwards should probably be a starter, but Lord forbid you got Anthony Edwards coming off the bench. Anthony Edwards coming off the bench. You have Jason Tatum coming off the bench, right? Come on, man. Come on, these guys just had deep final runs just now. It's crazy that would be the case. So let's go up to and what did we get that? They have a combined box score plus minus of +10 and a point. I'm going to round it up. Just say +10.
+10.
Yeah, +10. All right, let's go to that 2012 London team. I'm going to go A for that for me. A for that team.
Okay.
The 2012 London team. Let's put those guys up here. And we had Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Tyson Chandler. Let's go ahead and boom. There we go. Get those guys up there. Get them their picture. What are your thoughts here? 2012.
So maybe like you said, maybe I switch my grades from the other one, give them the A, give this one like the B+, just because of Tyson Chandler. Again, you know. I mean, let's just
so we got. I think I see Deron Williams down there, right? Deron Williams, Iguodala. You got a boy that we love on this show, Carmelo Anthony. KD, of course. KD and LeBron, staples at this point,
right?
And Kobe. So I get the other team an A, right? So I will go the same. I will go B+ here. Now, what did you go here?
I went B. I'm switching my grade. I'm giving the other one the A, giving that A kind of the A-, and giving this one the B+, just kind of slightly below the 2024 team.
Okay, so that's the 2012 team. Let's go here. Let's see how that stacks up. So their combined box score plus minus was 9. So about a point less. And there's no way in the world this 2012 team is as good as the other team. No way. Absolutely, right? Can Kobe make up because Tyson Chandler, we got to go Tyson Chandler to Joel Embiid, right? Joel Embiid, MVP player. Joel Embiid is Kevin Durant's still there. LeBron James is still there. So those are going to be washes, right?
Yeah.
Chris Paul to Jrue Holiday, maybe, but I wouldn't do Chris Paul to like Ant Edwards or somebody if they were to.
No,
I think Ant could start at that position.
Yeah, I agree.
But Chris Paul, if we're really keeping it a buck here, Chris Paul is currently a Hall of Famer and is working his way into the Hall of Fame, whereas Chris Paul is definitively a Hall of Famer. So I got to at least give Chris that.
True.
So, and then they had Russell Westbrook, Deron Williams come off the bench. I like the bench players that we have. I'd rather have Jason Tatum than come off the bench now than what I look at as a bench team here for the 2012 London team. But so far, we're still good here on the current team, 2024, right?
Right. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to our 2008 team. Good looking group there. We got Melo back out there. Looks like Deron Williams is on two of those teams, right? Tayshaun Prince looks like it's out there. I'm just gonna try to name these guys just right off their picture. Carlos Boozer, right? Chris Paul, Dwight Howard, Dwayne Wade, J. Kidd, LeBron James, Kobe, Tayshaun Prince, Chris Bosh looks like back there, Carmelo, Deron Williams, and is that Michael Redd? That's Michael Redd next to Chris Paul
Michael
there. I think it is, man. I have to go back and see. Shout out to Michael Redd. Coach K doing his thing in these pictures, man. Plays so many great players he's been able to coach. Let's see here. That's the 2018. That's the Beijing team. Okay, so J. Kidd, Kobe Bryant, J. Kidd. This is the starting five. J. Kidd, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard. I'm gonna take Dwight Howard over Tyson Chandler. J. Kidd, Chris Paul, kind of a wash there. I think it's kind of a wash. Kobe and LeBron were on the other team. Do I take Carmelo Anthony starting on this team? I think Carmelo started on the other one too, though. Let's see if Carmelo started on. No, he didn't start. Melo didn't start on the 2012 team. So Melo started on the 2008 Beijing team. And I think I would take Kevin Durant starting because 2012 Kevin Durant started over him. I think I would take that. So if I went A for the 2024 team, 2012 team, I'm gonna have to go with a B, maybe B plus, there, and then I'm gonna go with this 2008 team. No, B plus for the 2012 team. 2008 team, I'm gonna go B. Maybe because of Tayshaun. I don't know. Their combined box score plus minus was the same as the 2012 team by 0.08 points. Both of them 9 on that. So statistically, pretty much in order, right? What are your thoughts here on this team?
It's kind of a little below, right? If you're looking at that roster between those two teams, you said B. I might even go C minus. I'm sorry, wow. C plus. Give him a C plus.
C plus. So you're right under. So I said
right
B.
under.
You're right under at C plus.
Yeah, just slightly under. I mean, not trying to Price is Right. Here doing the $1 bid, but just slightly under. Under. Do the one under. But again, it's still a good team. But again, you could kind of see the levels kind of dropping with each kind of roster here, though.
Coming from the 2024 roster and coming down, that's because that 2024 roster is just so stacked.
Yeah,
at least on paper. Now we got to see, at least these other teams, as we say that the 2024 team is better, we do still need to see the results. And I do think that as you go through time, another thing is there's more NBA players on teams as time goes on. That's something we'll talk about here with the Dream Team. Let's kind of go ahead and get into that because that's really what we're talking about here, right? We're really only comparing them to this team here, one of the greatest teams ever assembled in the history of man. Once again, I'm just going to go right off the top of my head here and hope I don't not miss any of these guys. Let's go background. Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Chris Mullin, that Clyde Drexler back there, John Stockton. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing. Is that Christian Laettner?
It is Christian Laettner.
Christian Laettner and Scottie Pippen. Once again, Coach K out there. Man, hard not to give this team that A plus, right? And that Lenny Wilkins back there. Is that Lenny Wilkins just next? They got Lenny Wilkins on a bench next to Coach K back there. That's incredible, right?
Yeah.
Chuck Daly right there in the middle. That coaching staff. What are your thoughts?
A plus. I mean, God. I mean, there's no. I mean, I don't care. I understand the level of competition they played, but they destroyed everybody. And then that's the thing what the 2024 team needs to do. Since the roster is so talented, they need to come out and destroy everybody. Like this team did. I mean, like you remember like Charles Barkley doing the YMCA during like some of the during some of the just things going on. So this is an A+ team. I understand the level of competition they're playing was really subpar, but yeah, just go out and destroy like this 2024 team. Like you said, Tatum and Ant are coming off the bench. Those are your
Incredible.
two defensive stopper guys too. Like those are two top defensive guys. So you should not be losing points when those guys, and Booker as well. Booker's a dog on defense as well. So when those three guys come in, they should be like on ball and stop, and they're stopping points in transition, and this just pummeling everybody.
You know what's interesting is I feel like who starts on the team like this? Let's go and look at Magic Johnson starting Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, Patrick Ewing. That means you got Larry Bird. Larry Bird's looking in the twilight of his career, I think, at this time.
Yeah. More the injuries back then.
Coming off the bench. You got Scottie Pippen coming off the bench, David Robinson coming off the bench, Clyde Drexler coming off the bench. Combined box score, or BPM, I should say, is 13, which is higher. We brought 3. Let's see, where is that in comparison? Let's go scroll back up here to the 2024 team, guys. That is 10th, about 3 points higher. Box score plus minus. So it's easy. We need to just see. BPM is a basketball metric that uses box score statistics to examine a player's contribution to a team while they are on the court. All right. Interesting. So A+ for you.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay. The only reason I'm going to give it an A+ right now because I gave the 2024 team an A. That being said, I don't necessarily know if this team, 1992 team, can beat the 2024 team. Only because you're not just dealing with the team on paper, you're dealing with a style of play. So you have the stretch fives now, right? You're going to have to go out there and see about Embiid. Embiid is just not standing underneath the basket. You have to go out there and see about a Kevin Durant, right? We don't just have a bunch of like 6-foot guys running around out here. LeBron is still LeBron, right? So you have some formidable guys here. The physical nature of this team, of the Dream 1992 team, given with how more physical the game was in, maybe that gives them fits. They got some bigs out there, David Robinson, Karl Malone's a beast, Patrick Ewing, right? So you got some guys out there that can bang around, and you got a person that can stretch the floor, and Larry. I'm looking at this team to see if there's any other really like perimeter shooters on this team. Michael could shoot it, but then you do have Michael. Maybe you on those teams that have Kobe and on teams that have LeBron, maybe you kind of cross those out and say at the time this is like the best human being, playing at the time. But this is Michael at the beginning of his powers too. This is going into the early 90s Michael. So I'm going to go A+ only because they have done it. Okay. The team, I can't give the 2024 team the same grade as this. I feel like the 2024 team is better than the 2012 team and the 2008 team. So it was easy for me to give a better grade to them. But on paper here, this gets a lot harder with this team. To say that they're better. This team also has MVPs on it. This team also has Hall of Famers on it. This team also has NBA champions on it. You know what I mean? It's in about the same number as the other team, as the 2024 team does. So I'm going to go A+. If I went A for the 2024 team, but I will tell you, Eugene, there's an opportunity for that 2024 team to get up to an A+. They got to dominate. And if it's anything, the 2024 team, it is good. If anything about this team, it'll be the level of competition. There was no Canada in 1992 Dream Team. There just wasn't. There was not a team like that. I don't even think there was a France in the 1992 Olympics. If I can go back, I think that's the one that was in Barcelona. I would have to go back and look and see what those other Olympic teams look like. But Canada is an all-star team, pretty much. Is an all-star is an all-star basketball team. This is something that you didn't have in 1990. I don't know if you had that many if you just took the Canada team and split that team up across the Olympics in 1992, I still don't know if you get to that many NBA players just out there.
No,
of that caliber, especially, right? Of Jamal Murray types champions on that team.
You didn't. You're right. And that's what I said. I think like I said, there was like, I think 6 to 9 in 92, and there's 61 and this on
about
this
10 times that now.
Yeah. So, but again, like I said, I haven't really dug into what that 61 number is, but like you said, you're not versus when in 92, you're squinting your eyes trying to find a guy, an NBA guy,
trying to
versus like I just saw where Schroeder is going to be carrying the flag for Germany, right?
For Germany, so, he plays for Germany,
right?
For sure.
So, and he's a dog player. He was a good player. He's still a good player. So I mean,
some of these guys really turn it up for their national teams too. You see some of these guys getting their national teams over, and there'll be 1 or 2 guys out there, and they're just killing you. That's why I feel like France would listen. Don't sleep on Fournier and Batum. Like they do turn it up in international play. I expect to see them do that here again this year.
Right. So you're right. If they just go in and just dominate, then yes, I could be swung to what you're saying, being this is probably better than the 92 team, but yeah, until if they like put it on that level, just beat down like that 92 team did, then
they're just walking through, and if they're just beating down people the same way that the 92 team was with the current level of competition, it's gonna be hard to say that this isn't the best team right here because guys top to bottom here. But I will just leave it here on the screen as we exit, because this is just a beautiful thing to see right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing to see. This was an amazing team. One of the first times I think that we had NBA players on a Olympic basketball team. I'm not sure if they allowed them before then, or exactly what I don't know if it was a rule thing or if we just didn't. I'm not sure why it changed this year, but I do definitely remember it being an amazing team. And last word to you, my friend.
No, I'm excited. I was kind of like getting just kind of worn out with sports, and it's like, and just all like hearing like just the coverage and seeing all like just from Simone Biles, like I saw her floor routine was on Twitter, like just a minute and a half. It's like, oh, like just little things like that. I started watching the track and the track and field Netflix documentary, just seeing
me too.
Just like those little things like that. It's like, and then just seeing this, it's like, it's amazing. It's like before you would just be like in this bubble and the Olympics was here. And now we just have so many avenues to watch it, to get hyped for it, like Netflix or Twitter or just different social media, to like be excited to like, oh, here it is, here it comes. And now we can get excited for it,
Yeah, 100% co-sign that. Enjoy the Olympics. We'll probably talk some more about it here as time goes past in the next few weeks. It's Just a Stats. Check us out. Stitcher IR Radio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast, as well as YouTube, TikTok, and other social media platforms. See you next time, ladies and gents.